So over the past few weeks and months, we of course have been talking about various Nintendo Switch 2 related stories that have come out. Whether they're behind closed doors events, whether they're just purely rumors or speculation, or even some that are being classified by leaks, there's been a lot of information out there about the Switch 2 and really, I guess, what people expect from it. Because at the end of the day, you know, it is just sort of tied to hearsay. It is just sort of tied to things that we've either seen online or things that are being reported by major websites and things of that nature. And we assume that some of it is true, but we also assume that some of it might just be some sort of smokescreen for something. Of course, when asked about Nintendo hardware for the upcoming hardware generation, you don't really hear much from them. Doug Bowser, of course, did an interview that we talked about recently, and he basically gave some nondescript answers about upcoming Nintendo hardware, and that's what I would expect from the president of Nintendo of America. Nintendo of America is a marketing firm, someone that does translations for Japanese games and handles distribution of games and marketing in the United States, which of course is Nintendo's biggest selling region that they have. But that's not the most important region. The most important region is, of course, Nintendo of Japan and the Japanese audience. That's where Nintendo is based out of. Nintendo of Japan is the company that makes all of the decisions, and every other company just sort of follows suit with that. Now, we've never really had President Furukawa talk about any of these rumors and speculations and potential events that have happened until now. So evidently some investors asked President Furukawa about specific things that we have actually talked about on this channel, including one thing that we talked about very recently, and Furukawa pretty much laid it all on the line. And I'm not 100% sure I'm buying what he's selling when it comes to this. So I don't want to talk about what was said, what was specifically referenced, and why I feel that he's either telling the truth or maybe putting up a bit of a smokescreen himself. So if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, dislike, I don't care, comment, share, interact somehow with the video. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers, and I appreciate all of you. So let's just get into the nitty gritty here. Basically, this is being translated by a Japanese publication website, Mainichi.jp. I will have a link to it in the description box down below. If you read Japanese, you'll be able to enjoy it. This, of course, is being translated, however. So this is what the website says. There have been some rumors on the internet news sites that have suggested a successor, but Furukawa said rumors are circulating on the internet as if they are public information, but they are inaccurate. Citing such reports as Nintendo explained about the next generation console to certain software makers, and Nintendo demonstrated the new model at an overseas event in the summer. So what that is referencing is essentially the reports that we've gotten that there's potentially developers out there with SDKs for this upcoming system that are working on games. So essentially what he's saying here, at least if I'm reading this correctly, which I believe I am, is that nobody knows about the next generation console, and nobody's really working on anything for it, even though we have Bobby Kotick under oath by the US government saying that he's aware of what the hardware was supposed to be in terms of what they're targeting for, like, raw specs and power, and that was kind of contingent on that whole Call of Duty thing going to Microsoft and being available on Nintendo platforms in the first place. So maybe Bobby Kotick is lying under oath. Like, you know, that does happen. Sometimes you gotta lie to wiggle your way out of things, but I don't think that that's something that he would, like, necessarily need to lie about. And, you know, I'm assuming that that's the story we're talking about here, because that's been the most concrete thing that we've seen. Yes, there's been rumors that, like, a developer out of Spain has a dev kit or something like that, but according to this, there are no dev kits. And of course, we have the Nintendo demonstrated the new model at an overseas event in the summer. Furukawa denied the rumors as not true. So basically, there was no closed door event that happened at Gamescom this year, to which, once again, I would say, what would be the point of all these websites lying then? And why would they be able to say very similar things that one another have said? Like, was this just some grand master plan to sort of throw gamers off and get some easy clicks? I mean, maybe, but I feel like these websites are reputable websites. They have a reputation to uphold. You know, places like Digital Foundry talking about stuff like this. I don't think this would be thrown around kind of so willy-nilly if this was not an actual thing. So to completely dismiss it and dismiss the fact that people are, you know, companies are potentially working on software, that's a very, very bold statement to make. Now, of course, we have to take into account when talking to people and talking to the press, you could kind of wiggle your way out of some things, but this was made specifically to investors. This was made specifically to people that are investing in Nintendo stocks. So I don't really understand why you would lie to investors, because you kind of can't. Like, this is a bit different than lying to just, you know, a website publication like an IGN, like Reggie did with the new 3DS. Now, of course, you could always say, well, you know, plans changed or something like that. But still, you would think that there would be some level of honesty, or at least just a dismissal, if this wasn't indeed the case. Now, he could be nitpicking and, you know, using his words very correctly in order to convey this message, but still, that's a little bit sketchy in my opinion. He also goes on to say, in October, it was revealed that Nintendo had applied for a patent for a game device with 2 screens, which of course we just talked about over the past weekend. But Furukawa said, we applied for the patent on the understanding that the information would be made public. It does not mean that it will be incorporated in future products as is, which is something that I honestly felt was going to be the case. I know the whole dual screen thing, you know, it's an attractive thing as far as like a commodity is concerned. It's something a bit different than what other companies are doing, and I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for Nintendo to go in a bit of a different direction with their upcoming hardware. But I didn't really think that that was going to be the case, just because of the strain that sort of stuff puts on developers, because now you essentially have to do something on a secondary screen, which Nintendo themselves proved that they weren't even willing to do with games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. So I'm fine with that statement. But to say that Nintendo explained the next generation console to certain software manufacturers, and that Nintendo demonstrated the new model at an overseas event in the summer, and to say that that is all false and none of that information is true to investors, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I have to think that there is some sort of a lie within that, because that really just does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense for people to just put their reputations on the line, saying that this is what it is, for Bobby Kotick to essentially say it under oath that, hey, you know, this is what they're targeting with the next system in terms of power, at least during that time frame. So you're going to say that there's no companies working on games for the next generation of hardware? Then what are they working on? Because they're sure as hell not working on games, you know, bigger projects for your current flagship system here. Like, the writing is kind of on the wall for the system, but according to Furukawa, it's not. Now, like I said, this could just be generic PR talk. Things can always change. But if you're just straight up lying to investors, that's really... But first off, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. And second off, I'm not sure that that's a very good look to go about. Maybe a nondescript answer would have been a more reasonable thing. I'm very curious, though, to see the reaction of the people that reported on the Gamescom event, because we learned about stuff like DLSS, the Matrix demo was running on there, supposedly Final Fantasy VII, supposedly Breath of the Wild at 4K 60 frames per second. So if all these people are lying and made this stuff up, I want to know why they did, or I want to know their response to this report. Whether or not they do that or not, I guess that kind of remains to be seen, because I guess, you know, if it wasn't true, they're not going to double down on it. But if they believe in their heart of hearts, and I believe that they do believe this to be accurate information, there has to be some sort of retort to this, because without it, then you just got egg all over your face, you know? Furukawa was just like all over your grill, and you know, that's not a really good look. So I think this is very interesting stuff here. I know they announced updated hardware sales and game sales and stuff. I know they talked about A Zelda movie was just announced. I'm filming this on Tuesday. A Zelda movie was just announced. Like, you know, that's cool. You're gonna make Link talk, I guess, after 30 years of silence. That's not gonna be awkward or anything because it's a live action movie. But this to me was a lot more interesting. This to me was just kind of a weird thing to see pop up on the timeline, and I just kind of wanted to discuss it with you guys to see your sort of feelings on this, because maybe this is all true. Maybe we don't know a damn thing about this system, and maybe it's not coming till 2025. But that just doesn't seem correct. It doesn't seem correct in light of all the stuff that we've been learning about this system off the record, of course. So let me know in the comments section down below. Do you think Furukawa is straight shooting with this? There's nobody working on games. Nobody knows about this thing. It's still under development. There was no Gamescom behind closed doors presentation. Or do you think he's putting on a bit of a facade in order to keep the mystery surrounding the system? Obviously, he's not going to announce the system at one of these investor things, but you would think that he would be a little bit more transparent and potentially a little bit more honest with the shareholders. Let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. Like I said, I will have a link to the original Japanese article that is being sourced in this in the description box down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, dislike the video, leave me a hate comment. That's fine. You know, interaction's interaction. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.